Tips for photographing artwork. Tip number 1.
You should try to zoom in so that you're up close to the artwork and you don't have a lot of negative space. Should not have it be where there's lots of negative space. All this negative space is unnecessary. We want to get closer to your artwork.
Tip number 2.
Try and get straight on, like line it up so that the edges of the artwork are matching up pretty well with the edges or the frame of the camera. The opposite of that, the thing that I don't want you to do, is to have it like that, tilted this way or that way.
Tip number 3.
It should be hovering parallel to the surface that the artwork is on. So the surface of the artwork and the camera are parallel to each other. Not tilted that way, not tilted that way, not tilted this way or that way. Straight on.
Tip number 4.
You want the environment to be well lit. I have a studio light here shining at an angle on my artwork. It's diffused light, so it's not really direct light. It's just kind of flooding the area softly. You can have lamps in your environment that are not directly shining on the artwork, but are filling the area with light that is indirectly lighting your artwork. What we don't want to have happen is weird shadows distracting from what your artwork, what it really looks like.
Number 5.
You also want the artwork to be focused. Obviously, right now, this is not focused, so I'm going to focus it. Nice and crisp and clear. And then we also want it to be well focused. This is obviously blurry because I am using a camera to take a photo of a camera, and I have to focus my first camera. And now that is in focus, and my camera that I'm using to photograph this or video this is also in focus. You want to try and be close up. You want to zoom in close up on the artwork. You don't want there to be a lot of negative space. See, that's a bunch of negative empty space that is unnecessary. So you want to be zoomed into it so most of that negative space is gone. You want to place your camera above the artwork directly, but not at an angle like this. It should be hovering parallel. It should be hovering parallel to the surface that the artwork is on. So the surface of the artwork and the camera are parallel to each other. Not tilted that way, not tilted that way, not tilted this way or that way. Straight on. You also want to try to line up the edges of the artwork with the border of your camera so that those match pretty well. They're in line with each other, in other words. They're not like that, or like that, or like that. But the edges of the artwork are pretty close to lining up with the edges of your camera frame.